My stream is art time. Woo! Oh, I forgot. Okay, let me put my tablet. Not this one. Is this one? Oh yeah. Hi Maple, how are you? How you been do? Hope you've been great. We continue on this piece. But I really want to watch anime at the same time, so halfway through I might be doing that. Without you guys, obviously, because I can't stream anime. Of course I can't stream anime. I turn off the lights outside. Why has my color disappeared so much? Oh no. Mm-hmm. Okay, okay. Something no looks right, and I don't know why. Figure it out later. it like this. Leave it like that. I think I am gonna watch some anime. Don't mind. Where is headphones? Okay. Working on the wheel. All my tablet tips are like dying. I need to keep changing them. I also need to throw away the tablet thingy that are like not really cannot be used anymore. This one still be used? No, this one is also dying. Okay. These are flat. I'm gonna throw this away. This is also flat. Let's throw this one away too. This one more or less has flattened. I don't have a lot of tablet tips left. I should go buy more. This is also shaved down. I think I have like 3 left. I throw all of these away. Okay. Just grab this out. This has toss these. That's how it happens if I decide to turn it around. Does it top? No, it doesn't. Okay, so let's grab another one. Continue drawing. Let's just toss these and go shopping later for tablet nibs. My Shopee. Where's my phone? Oh god, here we go again. Yes, it's shopping time. My favorite time of day. Oh my god, so we were at Next earlier, and then the Isetan at Next has sale for like Gundam stuff, Gunpla building stuff, right, and some other toys. Ray and I bought $200 worth of stuff. Okay, there was one because I'm into the 30-minute sisters. If you guys don't know what it is, it's basically it's like model kits, robot girls model kits, right? And I can customize it and change the hair color and etc, etc, etc. One of the model kit normally goes for $60. It's going for like, I think like $10-20 or higher, and I think it was 60, and then we bought it for like 10ish, right? So we bought a lot of like $18 stuff. Yeah. There was like big sale, big sale. Oh, it's still, yeah, it was. Oh my god. Okay. Now, me, I am going to continue drawing. I'm so distracted. Hey, Blue Chef, also that. No. Oh my god, I'm delaying the. Sorry. I was getting messages from friends. Hey, Blues, what's up? Anything fun happening today? How are you feeling? You having some art block? Art block? That was fun to say. Art block? Try it. Art block. Okay, this brush, once I change my pen tip, everything is like really smooth now. On my tablet, it's just going vroom vroom. Getting a bit okay now, a bit okay now with drawing, but yeah, same as usual again. I have clients wanting different. It's okay. You can take your great ideas and like, do it like personal works and stuff, right? I got mosquito bite from something. So okay. Okay. Wow. I considered the whale. Not Hajime. Tabs open. It's really distracting them all. Close this. Close this. This one. Oh, I need this data. This one. Close this. No. How's my stream going? My anime isn't loading. Oh, that's loud. What's that? Yeah, the post so cool, and like he was like he's then walking front and someone saw. Oh, and can you make him hold the sword now? Yeah, and he said, yeah, that's not better. But the one looks cooler. But it is what it is. Yeah, whatever the client wants. Don't think too much about it. Don't think too much about it. Yeah. Some things. Okay, think about it this way. Some things is worth arguing for, and then the other half of the stuff is don't make your life harder. Honestly. Sometimes it's for me, right? I have been into a lot of situations where is this worth arguing about? Right? It's not as if my amount of care sometimes drops to like really low amounts, and it becomes, is this worth arguing with this person about? If you're thinking like, you know, this is not worth a waste of time I could be doing, right? Sometimes my energy level will drop. That's it. It also depends on the situation. Don't fret on it too much, Bluers. That means you can use that post for your personal stuff now, right? I don't know if you can tell, but I am delaying what I have to do with the cherry blossoms. Doing things now. Yeah, what kind of potion? Ah, that's nice. We did some, yeah, awesome potion. You can brush it. Yes, I understand. But that is a smarter way of doing it. I feel anyway. message. I hit butted him early on. He got a bruise. It's not turning green. Here's my painting perceptual, right? Yeah. Never mind. If my dating client and does subtle changes to the post that I'm trying to make that looks cool. Every time I change it to it's like it looks bad, and then it's just and looks bad, then it is. So brush it off and start coloring. Yeah, I'm sure that your client has their own vision as well. So, right, you're just asked to draw it. So. Right, you don't have to. Do you have to think about the storyboarding and everything as well, or? Because if you have to think about the storyboarding, like the boxes and everything as well, it's like a different thing. At least that's what I feel lah. Okay. Take it easy on yourself, okay? Don't burn yourself out. got a lot of hair. It looks great. Looks like what I'm thinking, but always I am just doodling today after Chibi to get my mind off things. Yeah. You can do it. You can do it, Bluers. It's a job. Whatever gets the door. Then you can keep all your creative ideas to yourself. Okay? Don't give up, art. You got this. Hey Jay. Hi JD. Hi. It's your life, don't let people ruin it. Let's go. Ruin it yourself. No, wait. Alright, you. How's everything? How's everything away? Are you not playing games? Hydrate, redeem. Yeah, where's the chat? Okay, give me a second. Oh my god, so lazy I did nothing. Now I just continue my whip. Yeah! Doing your whip means you're arty. You did like 0 things today? What do you mean? What do you do today? Like, you woke up, played some games, read some things, studied something, worked on something? I don't believe you did nothing. Nothing's really hard to do. Woke up and stayed in bed. Nice, you're resting. What was I supposed to do? Oh, right, stretchy. Oh, my bones. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay, then we just put a strap. I cook, I draw, I sleep. You did a lot of things today. Very calm tonight, that's good. Calm hours is also nice. Actually, I'm listening to Rotten Mango. They're talking about the mountain devil, case of Hiro Onoda. So, and I'm focusing. The only way to get me to focus on art is when I'm actually like listening to other stuff. You know, I would like to have like a bot read all your like chats for me, but also the abuse I know you guys can do with the bot, and so yeah, I decided not to instead. It would be fun. Yeah, I wouldn't have to read chat. I could just, you know. You know, that guy who forgot to surrender. Yeah. But for some reason, they went into the case of unit something 7 something something, and then it's all about all the war crimes now. Well, I was listening. I paused it to talk because I can't Can't talk and listen at the same time. I can't even draw and talk at the same time sometimes. Meatbone. It's pen. Well, friends, yeah, you guys wanna listen with me? I don't think I can put this episode out onto YouTube if I do that though. But I guess it's fine, right? Just here. You can listen with me.
You get bonked on the head. You lose. It's a very humiliating combo. I mean, not only did you lose, but like bonk. It's not fun. So Onoda took years to fully grasp this. He even had this crazy scar on his arm in an attempt to duck and stab, not stab, but you get it, duck and poke at the other person.
Still
It's a nasty scar. But with enough dedication, Onoda was the best in his class. There's only one that he couldn't pick. So I guess second best. Kobai. Now, Onoda was so stubborn.
Just for the
So
picture.
pissed. Honestly, great sportsmanship, but you get what I'm saying. He was bonkers. On the last day of school, he begged for a chance. He said, Kobai, I can't graduate without beating you just once. Now, he's fought Kobai like a million times, and so he's like, okay, I'll take you on as many times as you want, Onada, like, you're not gonna beat me, but sure. Everybody gathers around to watch Onada try to lose for the millionth time, just one last time before school graduation. Kobai always beat him. I mean, it wasn't even a fair game. The years of practice after school paid off, and Onada beat Kobai. He did his signature duck and attack,
I put this.
and he felt like he could now graduate. This is the type of guy Onada was. Now, I'm not saying that this isn't admirable or that it is. I mean, at this point, it kind of is, yeah. Like, to be that dedicated to a sport at that age, it's a good indicator that this person might be a hardworking, determined, goal-oriented person, right? But later, we kind of head
There you
into
go.
this extreme territory.
This
After
one.
graduation, Onada gets
When I watched the YouTube channel, I did a thing. Rex up your ADHD attention. Why I did a thing? I'll Google it. YouTube that later.
Huge move. I mean, huge freedom. Onada was just not used to it. He immediately starts relying on his brother. I mean, this kid is just irresponsible. He's knocking on his brother's door in Wuhan. No warning. No call. Hey, brother. His name's Tadao, by the way. Hello, brother. How you doing? What are you doing here? Why are you in China? Oh, I'm gonna make it in Wuhan. I'm so excited. You're gonna what? Do you know how dumb you sound right now? This isn't the safest place right now, and you sound so naive. You're gonna get yourself killed. What do you mean you're gonna make it in Wuhan, China? You're gonna start at the bottom, and you're just gonna put your head down and work as hard as you can. Yeah, but don't be so down. I mean, if a man is not prepared to take a few risks, brother, he's gonna get nowhere. I'm gonna make it. Now, Tadao is looking at this guy like he's lost his mind. Okay, what's wrong with this kid? Why are you 17 with this big old dream like you have no sense of reality? What are you doing here on my doorstep then? Why don't you go get a job and make it if you so want it? Well, brother, thanks for asking. I know you're curious. I left
Just
Japan
having
with
a
nothing
peanut
but just
butter
this itty bitty
look
suitcase.
balls.
This one right here.
Some
And
very
I
killing
figured the
lifestyle
first thing I
doing.
should
Ooh.
do is get a decent pair of suits, right? So I can do job interviews and start working. So I'm here to ask if you would be interested in buying me a suit. This guy, the audacity. I mean, his
Should I start
life
from the
was not
start so you guys can
rolling in
listen
it.
with me?
He wasn't doing well at all. Suits were and still are quite pricey, but even more so then. Like, you really only had like one.
Should we start from the start?
as an employee. So,
Erin,
okay, fine.
how
I'll
you
buy a suit for you. Go find a
doing?
tailor
Happy
and get out of here.
weekends.
Onoda was so excited, he rushed to find the best tailor and demanded a woolen material suit, like the ones they wear in London. Tailor's like, it's gonna cost you extra, like a lot more. Is that okay? Yeah, of course, but I want to look like a man from London. Bill it to my brother. Tadao's eyes nearly popped out of his head when he got the invoice. It was so much money, maybe like a whole month's salary.
That's from
Meanwhile, Onada
uni.
is
You had
running
classes
down
today,
downtown
right?
Wuhan in his fancy English suit, like he owns the place. He felt like the greatest businessman in the entire freaking world. A new suit really does work wonders. Now, to be fair, Onoda was a great businessman, especially at just 17. His advantage was that he was amazing, great at adapting to new surroundings. He was incredibly resourceful. For example, when he moved to China, he had to learn Chinese, which is a lot of people considered one of the hardest languages in the world. And he had to learn it fast. Not only that, but he had to learn it in a way that it wasn't obvious to most when he just got there.
What does that mean?
Nobody wants to do business with someone who doesn't even know the native tongue. Nobody wants to do business with someone who just moved from Japan. You know, because you'd like a long-standing business who's built a web of connections, who has a lot of reputation in the area. So he had to make sure his accent didn't give it away. So he worked really hard. The problem was he loved to party just as much as he loved to work, if not more. He blew through all of his money at local bars. He loved to smoke. I mean, this guy could smoke 50 cigarettes in one sitting, especially if he was playing mahjong. Onoda said during this time in life, he just wanted indulgence. His upbringing had been so strict.
I said day was okay. Day was okay. I need to update you with some stuff. I'll let you know eventually.
Japan was officially in war with the United States, and Onoda knew that he was going to be drafted, so he had to stop going to the bars. Not because he was getting ready per se for the war, which he was, but because it was branded that any Japanese person who was still engaging in fun play like bars and entertainment were considered the rats of Asia. Yeah, you would bring shame and dishonor to your family. You would be looked down by everybody else. How dare you be having fun when your brothers and sisters are being killed on the battlefields?
Yeah, sorry, you was a top in
Gonna make sense.
Just as a which is
So
what
Onoda
I
gets
did during
inducted
peace
into
time.
the
Oh
61st
damn,
Infantry,
straight up murder.
the regiment of
Here, done it,
Wakayama.
people. Oh my
And
god.
he's thinking, well,
Yeah, okay,
if I
let's
already have to
listen.
serve, there's
Let me
no way
listen to
around
this.
Army. Might as well get into good shape. Before he was formally trained by the army, he starts spending his time swimming in the ocean, practicing kendo nonstop, just all night long. And it paid off. During basic training, they were forced to march 3.5 miles in an hour, sometimes 5 miles in an hour, wearing all their gear, their boots, and their uniform. A lot of the recruits would whine, or they would show resentment towards these harsh conditions, but not Onoda. He liked it. He was in great shape. He was a little bit on the shorter side. He was 5'4". He weighed 135 pounds, which was just pure muscle, it seemed. He was considered the perfect weight. That's what they said in the army. Because you had to carry around 60 pounds of weight in gear as you march. 60
pounds?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
See, every time I see those army recruit videos, I'm like, you know what my toxic trait is? Thinking I could survive basic training. And then I think about 60 pounds. I don't even think I can hip thrust 60 pounds. So if you weigh about double the 60 pounds, you're in great shape. Because those who weigh less would struggle with an additional 60 pounds. And those who weigh more would be held back by carrying just overall too much weight in total. So there's like a perfect ratio. There's a method to this madness. Now, I don't know if it was the perfect weight to gear ratio or the fact that Onoda worked hard. All of Onoda's superiors expected great things from him.
Is
They
it?
even encouraged him to apply to
Yeah,
the
because
officers'
well,
training,
it wasn't too bad.
which is
We had
further
Pokemon
training. So instead of going into
in the
trenches,
afternoon,
maybe
and
have a
then
more specialized
it was like
kind of like
expansion,
not
right,
special
battle. So there was
ops,
like new gym
kind of
promo.
like
So
a
it was
vague,
it was full. It
impromptu
was full
wartime special ops.
in terms
So
of
that-
it kept 16.
I'm
So
not
it was full.
comparing it with Japan's
And
special ops because I'm
then
sure those people have been
Hololive,
heavily trained
and
prior to war
then
times. This is like a
that's it actually.
He was accepted,
Not too bad. Not
and
too
he
bad.
said there he really learned what it meant to be.
I'm going cruise tomorrow,
the
guys.
discipline that you needed.
So I won't be
Even
streaming
when
for
his brother
another
saw him, because
well,
his
3
brother was
days.
drafted too,
No,
he
2
said,
days.
"Onada, what happened to you? What do you mean? You look like
Yeah,
a real
yeah.
man." So the war is gearing up, and all Onada wanted to do was go back to China and
Can
eat
eat.
Chinese food again. That's what he kept telling all his
Yeah.
comrades. Listen, when the war is over, I'll
Breakfast,
fly my ass back to China and just
brunch,
stuff
lunch,
myself with Chinese food. But quickly, he was sent to further
tea
training,
time, happy
and
hour,
this wasn't any training.
dinner,
It was secret guerrilla
in between
warfare
dinner and
division.
supper,
The
and then
real
supper.
name of the school was kept
Mhm.
a secret, and the hand-picked trainees were to get rid of any ideas, any hopes of achieving military honors during the war. They said, "You're not going to get any honors here because it's secret warfare. Everything you're going to do is in secret. You'll never revel in the glory of being someone special in the war, but that's okay because you're serving your country." Onoda was shocked. This is not what he signed up for. Everyone in the room, they were anxious. Secret guerrilla warfare? What does that even mean? Those are like 3 scariest words and you just put them all together? What are you talking about? So naturally, the curious goober that I am, I googled, what is spy training like? Yes, because real spies, they're gonna make an in-depth YouTube tutorial about it. I did stumble on some interesting articles though, from former CIA agents. And I forget where I saw this. I think this part is a TikTok. So this one, take it with a grain of salt. The sources, trust me, bro, okay? There was a former, not spy per se, but I think an intelligence officer of some sorts, who said that for the CIA, they had to write down any time they ever interacted with anyone that was foreign. So even if you said hello to a Korean cashier, you would have to write that down, the time and date and where, and kind of like a brief description of them. If you went to a Canadian friend's house for a quick little dinner party, you would have to write that down. Even the smallest interaction with anybody foreign, you had to write it down. I just think that's so fascinating. Yeah. I mean, my question is, how do I know if you're American or foreign? Like, I'm Korean American, so that's confusing. Would you consider me foreign? Also, how do you tell the difference between like someone who's from Canada and the US? Someone's gonna be like, oh, Canadians are nicer and smarter. That's rude. Maybe that's how. I don't know. Anyways, Google said you learn a lot of wild things during spy training. It sounds so dumb now that I'm saying it. But apparently,
Have fun,
driving
catch some
is fun.
tuna.
Not just driving, but
Enjoy lots of
like
that. I'll
different
enjoy all the
lessons.
norms.
That's down. But intense defensive driving. How to check if someone is following you. How to lose someone who's on your ass. How to flip a car over in case you get ambushed. And I'm just thinking, well, you probably have to have some test cars, right? Like, how much is the budget for spy training and test cars? Apparently, and I don't know if this is true, but there's a fake town.
What?
It's somewhere near the headquarters. It's a fake town. And you go there as training, and everything there is fake.
Okay, actually, I can see it.
So you have...
Probably just consider it like a military base.
Yeah, exactly. So you have fake civilians, and then you have the bad people, and then you're in CIA training, and you get woken up. There's sleep deprivation involved. There's crazy high tense situations, and you got to shoot down the bad people, but you can't hit a civilian. I mean, it's not real guns, obviously. Apparently, there's like a whole spy town you got to go to. I think it's called the Farm, which is terrifying. I really hope this isn't true. I mean, I guess I do because
This
it's
story is
great
kinda
defense for our
wild.
country, but also
Conspiracy.
terrifying. I never
Conspiracy,
wanna...
I
Imagine
say.
you're just on a road trip. You end up there one day, and you're just stuck in this weird, and they just think you're a civilian or you're a bad guy there. No idea. These are CIA in training. Someone said a huge part of training for spies is just to learn how to withstand captivity and torture. Apparently, some of them will even be briefly tortured, just so they have an idea of what the pain tolerance will be. You know, so you're just gonna get waterboarded on a random Tuesday. Have fun with that. One big thing is they want you to practice observing details at a glance, using your peripheral vision and remembering as many license plates, as many faces.
I would
as
feel
many
so
little details
bad.
as possible,
I
which
would feel
is
so
fascinating.
bad as well.
One spy said that he and his wife lived in a CIA bugged apartment to mimic what life would be like in Soviet Russia, where the walls had ears and eyes. So for months, every word, every movement, every facial expression was analyzed by the CIA to see if they would ever slip up before they were sent
What
to
the
the
hell?
USSR. All the while, psychologists are also evaluating every single move that they made. I mean, you're gonna be under immense pressure, but you can never give away these telltale signs that you felt immense pressure. Because it's like, why do you feel pressure? Huh? What's going on? Listen, I don't know if any of this is true, but it's so fascinating. And it just reminds me that there's so many lives to live. So, anyways, these guys get sent to spy school, and immediately upon arrival, they're asking all the pertinent questions. When you got here, what was the impression of the place? If the troops are stationed here, how many army men do you think that there would be? What is the principal industry of this area? What kind of town is this? How much food do you think the town can provide for army troops? What's the average cost of houses here? Nobody had any clue on how to respond to these questions. And they would say, this is why you're not a spy yet. The biggest lesson is to be aware and gather intel quickly and discreetly. You need to know as much about any area as possible, the people, the locals there. Even if it's something as mundane as running errands, you need to know everything about the area. The instructors went on to teach, you'll have to learn to notice everything around you and evaluate it from the viewpoint of military
Yeah,
intelligence.
you gotta know everything
With that,
around
Renata
you.
started spy school. Listen, I'm sure there's a formal name for it, and it doesn't sound as super lame, but I'm calling it spy school. In
Spy school.
he had 4 hours of training in the morning, 4 in the
Sorry.
afternoon. They had 2 15-minute breaks, and when class was over, they had homework. Since war was raging, the spies, and like I said, these are not Japanese elite spies. They've already been trained, I'm sure, probably in preparation for the war, but these are Japanese makeshift seasonal worker spies. A little above the regular army man. These are the ones that were considered to have quote-unquote
Here you
good
go,
minds.
send you
Maybe
your
they
sketch,
bring a
Chidi.
little more to the table.
Just a
And
little
I'm
bit.
not discounting
Aw.
how hard it must have been, but I just
You
don't want
didn't
them
have
get
to.
the
You
impression
could have drawn your
that it's
OCs.
CIA. So the spy kids, they had to finish their spy school in 3 months rather than the intended wartime 6-month training that the superiors were hoping for. Onoda said one of the hardest things he had to learn was that prior to this, nothing mattered except Japan winning. It didn't matter if your best friend died, it didn't matter if your wife died, it didn't matter if you died. It doesn't matter how many.
Oh, that's really cute. Thank you. You should share that.
To never give up.
You should share that. I just binge watch James Bond's movie to learn how to be a spy. Can we? I don't think so.
You better take some Americans out with you. I'm sure America was the same, you know, I'm just saying. I don't know. Okay. I'm sure most armies think and talk like this, right? Especially during war times. If you took any weird measures to stay alive, you were considered disgraceful in Japan. So for example, if a soldier was taken prisoner after the war, they're returned to Japan alive, he will probably be sentenced to death in the court of law anyways. And their whole family would be looked on in shame. So you might as well take the enemies out while you're on a suicide mission or die in enemy prison camps. That's kind of how the culture was back and potentially still lingering here and there. For example, I mean, I think the most prominent example of this would be harakiri, which is when Japanese samurais commit suicide by cutting open their own stomach. Now, typically, a samurai person would only do this if they did something shameful. They didn't want that shame forever associated with them and their families, so they would commit harakiri, and all would be forgiven. Honor and shame are very important.
This is sketch writing. I will go back to it and post it for the color. We're just doing commissions first. Yeah, please.
Strongly, but I see it
At your own
as well.
time.
So in spy school, Onada is now.
As long as you enjoy
You
it.
have to do whatever you need to do other than betray Japan and your fellow men to stay alive, because you're gathering intelligence. We
Thank
need
you,
that intel
though,
to make our
for
next
choosing
steps.
me.
You're not
It's very
just one of the
cute.
You're not brute strength.
I think you guys are pampering me too much.
They want these people to survive. Yeah.
Yes. So even if you're considered a shame when you get back to Japan, it doesn't matter because you are a pivotal part in us winning the war. So you need to stay alive. You need to do whatever it takes. It's okay to be taken as prisoner of war. I mean, yeah, that's a death sentence for other people, but for you guys, we're gonna protect you when you get back, don't worry. And in fact, we recommend you be taken as prisoner of war if you need to gather intel that way. If you need to communicate directly with another Japanese official that has been taken prisoner.
I'm
In
drawing
short,
hangry.
the lesson that was pounded into their heads were,
I'm not
the
that
end
hangry. Got me
justifies the
inspiration when
means.
doing
It's
that.
the name
Aw.
of the game, secret warfare. And just like a side note with this whole thing,
Pampered.
what's interesting,
I'm pampered
and
elf.
I don't think one is better than the other. I do think that shame culture can very easily skew to mentally dangerous, right? But Japan is, and a lot of Eastern cultures are shame-based cultures, where it doesn't matter if you're guilty or not. Any shame upon the family is not good. Whereas America is more of a guilt-based culture. You're innocent till proven guilty. At the end of the day, if you're not guilty, then there's no shame. Shame is directly associated with guilt.
That makes sense, yeah.
Whereas in Eastern cultures, even maybe being associated with something, not even being guilty, but knowing of something or partaking in something or accepting something might bring shame onto you. So it's very interesting. So after 3 months of spy school and essentially being indoctrinated to a degree, I know, okay, unpopular opinion, but I do think that most armies have a process of indoctrinating the recruits, especially during war times, regardless of what country we're talking about. And like I know, before anyone says anything, I'm an American citizen.
It's
but
not
you
the
should
bit
do
here with the
some
donut.
dives into,
Hey,
American war crimes because there's a lot.
donuts are good.
Even till this day, so just saying.
I don't think that's the point, the argument though.
Completely innocent in this.
But no,
So after
donuts are
this,
good.
Onada and all of his comrades that were trained with were going to be sent to the Philippines. And Onada just comes to term with his life. He's probably going to die in the Philippines, not even in his home country that he was fighting so hard for, but it didn't matter. He said, if I'm the slightest use to my country, I shall be happy. Originally, they were supposed to head to Manila, but the US was bombing Manila, so the crew had to be sent to Lubang Island instead, which is a beautiful place. I mean, they've got beautiful beaches. Overall, there's this magic quality to the island. I mean, think rich, green, vibrant vegetation, coconut trees, bananas, sandy beaches, very picturesque tropical place. A lot of the residents, a lot of them at the time were farmers. They were living off the land. But Onada had no time to revel in this beauty. He had to get straight to work. The minute that he lands on Lubang Island, his superiors give him his orders.
I actually don't
Our objective
really
is to
understand how to
destroy
do
the
my
Lubang
back hair
airfield
too.
and the pier at the
I've
harbor.
tried.
Should the enemy land
I must even
and
try.
airfield,
So there's two
we
different
gotta
ways
destroy
out
their
there
planes. We gotta kill
that
the
you
crews.
can
We
like
gotta make sure Lubang Island
do
is
my
not
hair.
occupied by the US.
how to get my hair.
Typically,
But
I would
it's-
say leaders for these guerrilla missions.
It's
But
a
we can't
nightmare.
spare another man, so Onada, you're gonna be the only leader. And you have to watch out for yourself because remember, when you do something something for yourself for the first time, you're bound to slip up. So keep your eyes open, because if you slip up, you will die.
Wait, so he's alone or he's with a team?
He's with the team, but this is where it gets confusing. He's given this order, right? And, his superior also tells him, you are absolutely forbidden to die on your own hand. It may take 3 years, it may take 5 years, but whatever happens, we'll come back for you. Till
What the
then,
heck?
so long as you have one soldier, you are to continue to lead them. You may live off coconuts, and if that's the case, live off coconuts. Under no circumstances are you to give up your life voluntarily. So Onada was there with hundreds of Japanese troops, but he's not necessarily leading them. So
what
a
is he
lot of
doing?
them are just from the regular army. Like I mean, he's part of the army, but they didn't go through the spy school like he did.
Okay, so he's not leading them, he's just one of them.
Yeah, and he has a higher rank, but he has no authority to lead them. It's really confusing in the army.
It's really weird.
Makes sense though.
Yeah,
It does?
So, Onada's excited. He stands
It makes
up taller,
sense.
his chest held
Am I just
high. I'll
dumb?
do it. Even if I don't have coconuts, even if I have to eat grass and weeds, I'll do it. These are my orders. and I'm
See the
gonna carry
screenshot
them.
reference? I'll draw the bit
He's
here
given
someday.
camouflage outfit,
Just living
a
up
few
drawing
bombs,
skills for
some
now.
landmines, some hand
Slowly.
grenades, and some cash for his
What
special
screenshot
expenses,
reference?
whatever that meant. Now, Lubang is a relatively small island, about 6 miles from the northern tip to the southern tip, and about 18 miles east to west. So Onada's like, why do I need so many bombs? No, anyway, the Lubang garrison had about 50 Japanese soldiers already there, waiting for him, and more to come. And none of them liked what Onada was telling them to do. They're like, what are you talking about? We want to get the fuck out of here. We even stole some boats from the locals. We're trying to leave this island. You're like, okay, wait, why can't Onada just shut them down and take charge? Well, it's not that simple. Like I said, someone might have a higher rank than you, or they might even be a platoon leader, but they might not have the authority to give you specifically.
There's a 3D
command.
reference you showed,
So
and you just
technically,
screenshot
nobody
it.
had to listen to Onada. Onada would
Yes.
have to talk to the highest people in charge, and even though he was technically higher in rank to them, he would have
But
to
still might be
convince them,
complicated,
beg
so-
them to give orders to their men to listen to his words. In other words, if the 50 men that were already there wanted to leave, Onada had no way of stopping them. So he's like, let me blow this shit up by myself. The soldiers declined. They didn't want to destroy the landing. They're like, our friends are gonna pick us up. The Japanese Air Force is gonna pick us up. You can't destroy the freaking airfield, because where would they land? Then we're just stuck on this island, and we hate this island. We want to go home. We want to fight somewhere else.
So is this some sort of mix-up with the command? Because they're supposed to be doing the same thing, but their orders are completely different.
Yeah, and it was so hectic. So technically, Onada was on a guerrilla mission, which is
Guerrilla.
warfare is like technically not on the books per se. It's not like, would I say it's a war crime? I don't know. It's not something politicians would come out and say, guerrilla warfare. We did it. It's a little bit more aggressive. Maybe not as marketable. So he was kind of on like a different order for guerrilla warfare. These guys were just on regular army orders, like, hey, stand your ground, make sure the Americans don't come. Onada was on orders of blow that shit up, kill anybody that tries to land. Very different orders, right? Very different type of energy. So these guys are like, well, if we blow it up, how will we leave? We want to leave. So Onada threw his arms up in desperation, and he decided, it's okay, I gotta do it myself. I don't need to depend on any other idiot. This is dumb. So he starts hauling all the explosives in the dead of night, 4 in the morning. He's tired. He hadn't slept in the past 48 hours. He's taking power naps in the grass. And just a few days later, the Allied powers start to invade the Philippines. It was just bad news for everyone on the island. It was really bad news for Philippines and innocent civilians. But in terms of the story, bad news for Onada and his men. A lot of the men stationed on the island had been surviving off coconuts for a while.
Oh my
so they were all
god,
really
they were
weak.
surviving just
They
on
could only carry
coconuts?
about 35 pounds at a time. They also did not have the equipment that they needed. It looked just like, most of these men had lost the will to fight. That's what Onada was looking at. So he keeps urging them, we gotta prep for guerrilla warfare. It's our only answer, guerrilla warfare. Guys, come on, come on. And they all scoffed at him. They're like, what are you talking about? Nobody took him seriously. In fact, they thought that he was Looney Tunes. They nicknamed him after a famous brand of soy sauce. Which I know, you're like super cool to be named
What?
after soy sauce. Maybe it means you're full of flavor.
Ikuman?
But it was demeaning. The implication was that Onada was not the big fish. He's not the main course. He's only a little bit of seasoning in the grand scheme of things. Nobody took him seriously. So he comes up with another plan, other than blowing up the airfield. Mainly because he found out that the US has these giant steel plates that they can make a runway in no time. So even if they blew up the airfield, the US had steel plates to make a runway, so there was no point in wasting the explosives. Onada starts putting all of his energy into delaying the enemy invasion on the island, and that's when it came to him. The story of Samurai Kusunoki. It had been a really difficult battle for the samurai, and he decided to create a ton of straw men, bodies made out of straw, and he would disguise them in uniforms. I mean, they were made out of straw, but it looked like army men from afar.
I read it almost like
And
the
he
last
also
episode he
shoot
did
all
of the
their
war.
precious, valuable arrows at
This
them,
is it. This is
which
the
would
story.
result in the enemies losing their precious arrows on a bluff. So that's what Onada wanted to do. He gathered up pieces of airplanes that had
I
been
didn't know it was a
destroyed on the
thing.
island and arranged them to look like they were still working airplanes. He covered it up with vegetation to make it look like it was a real plane that was functioning, and someone tried to hide it from view of whoever flew over. And sure enough, the US came and would just shoot up the planes. Onada felt really good because he felt he was wasting the enemy's ammo. The only problem with that, though, was that Onada probably didn't know at the time that US factories had cranked out 41 billion bullets during World War II, 10 for every man, woman, and child on the planet. So you could have killed every single person on the planet and still miss 9 times per person. And that's not including the bombs. That's just regular ammo. Yeah, and at one point, he did study the bullets, and he realized the US was wasting naval ammo, which was considered highly coveted and more precious and more powerful in the Japanese army, and the US was just fucking around, just shooting everything up with really precious, expensive ammo, because they just had so much ammo. And that's when he's like, fuck, I'm kind of in over my head right now. Like, I got 50 dudes here who just want to go home, and the US is shooting at us with some precious ammo. Like, they're just using it like water. So it was only a matter of time before the US touches down on Lubang Island and invades the Philippines completely. And Onada is prepping for that dreadful day. He ordered the mayor of Lubang. Yeah, there's still civilians on the island because where are you gonna go just because it's war times? Where are you gonna go? It was terrifying and scary for them. Listen, I don't know the nuances, every little thing that's going on, but I imagine the civilians must have had some anger of like, what? We got Japanese troops here, American troops shooting at, like, everybody, hello? Like, as a civilian and you're not involved in politics, you're just like, hello? We don't even have much skin in the game right now. What's going on? He ordered the mayor to give them 50
was
sacks
full
of
of
rice,
vodka.
which is a lot. These
Guys, you need a
islanders
tree
are
of
not
life.
doing well, they're just regular
Still.
farmers. Every sack of rice is, it could be
Yeah, well,
life
that's so
or death in
familiar.
their
Also, the
lifetime.
Japanese soldier live in the
But the
jungles for
mayor
20 years.
agreed.
Yeah.
But after that,
It's the
they
same
said
one,
that we're not
right?
going to help the Japanese troops anymore. Not that they wanted to in the first place. I mean, the islanders would make excuses like, we can't transport the rice to you during the day. The Americans are going to kill us. At night, we only work during full moon because we can't see. It's like a 25-year-old saying, sorry, I can't go out tonight. I'm grounded. Like, you know it's an excuse, but what can you say? So they're just being cornered. Let's just say it's not going great for the Japanese troops in Lubang Island. And I think that's another reason the islanders didn't feel that intimidated anymore. Because they didn't really know which side was winning. And to make it worse, Onada found Japanese soldiers striking up deals with the islanders. And it was by far some of the worst deals he had ever seen. An entire sack, like a 10-pound bag of rice, for a small packet of sugar.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
the troops wanted sugar.
Oh, they want sugar.
Yeah. So they were giving up one of 50 packs of rice for a small packet of sugar. Like, are you kidding me? At one point, Onada just wished the enemy would invade. At least maybe that way the men would come together to
Yoichi
fight
and
for
Hiro.
Japan.
Oh,
Because they
really?
were acting like a bunch of teenagers and not men in
The
war.
more you
A
know.
month later, his wish came true. About 50 American soldiers landed on Lubang Island, and Onada was confused. Only 50 men?
You're gonna
I mean, there are stories
overextend?
about how big and vast and powerful
31
the
hours.
U.S. military is. 50 men. I mean, sure, it's a small island, but
But I
they
didn't do
fought soldiers for
anything. I
days.
didn't finish
We need
Mama
50
soon.
American soldiers. Is this a trap? Surely
Okay,
it's a
okay.
trap.
I will
Maybe
finish
someone
out my
was
color and then I'll
the
end for the
American
day.
army that he had heard so much about.
Thanks for letting me
Where are the
know. I
threats?
want to
When
build
the
my
other
30-minute
Japanese
goals.
secret though. 50 Americans? I only need 15 of my best to wipe out all 50. He's like, no, don't do it. You can bet that another crew is going to land at another point in the island and we're going to be ambushed. We're going to
5
be
more minutes,
separated
5
and
more
ambushed.
minutes.
We just need to wait and see. Don't worry, Lieutenant Onada. 50 or 100 Americans? Well, he used a slur. Instead of the word Americans, he used... Listen, I don't know if it's a slur. I think it's a debated slur, so I'm not going to use it. But it's Y-A-N-K-E-E.
Oh.
Like the baseball team, but I don't know. He said 50 or 100 of them don't matter. They all amount to a small fart. We'll wipe them out in no time.
Small fart.
And with that, the lieutenant hopped into his car with 15 men, and left Onada in the dust. Each one of those men only had one rifle, and they shared one heavy machine gun. That is
What the
not
heck?
good considering how much Americans love their machine guns. I'm literally American, okay? So we can't take digs at ourselves now. What's going on? Don't be mad. So that
Why
night,
is this not
the bombs
coloring?
came,
Oh.
and they came so hard, Onada said he shook the entire night from the vibrations. The ear-splitting sound was so much. He watched the whole town closest to him go up in a smoke. He saw chunks of palm trees, houses, just flying up in the air.
Wait, how did they do that?
America was bombing the island. Just
Oh.
throwing little bombs.
Oh, I see. It's not the 50 people.
No, just airstrikes. The raid lasted 2 hours. They opened fire, and the Americans opened fire on Onada's camp. They tried to hide as best as they could, but the U.S. Army was dropping 200-pound parachute bombs onto the nearby areas. Onada was shocked just at how aggressively they were being attacked, and again, the machine guns that they had. I mean, the fact that they had so many machine guns, Onada was like, do they just fucking have like 5 machine guns per army soldier? Because this is ridiculous. He was shocked that the U.S. was waving machine gun ammo to fight minimally armed foot soldiers. They weren't even the top of the crop. Like, they're not even fighting tanks. You're shooting at us with machine guns, and all I have is a revolver. Like, he was shocked. And like I said, it was another moment for him to realize, okay,
Actually,
the
my
US
eyes
just
can't
went
see
with
the color difference anymore.
when
I'm
it finally
having
ended,
problems.
A Japanese soldier ran to Onada, and he was one of the 15 that went with the other lieutenants, and he said, I'm the only one alive. They got us all. So Onada and the rest of the survivors, they waited for the attack to
Guys,
slow down,
early.
and they found
Go
them.
crash. Okay,
Now,
night
the way
rain.
that
Thanks
this
for popping
was happening
by.
is the US was not trying
Sweet
to kill everybody
dreams.
on sight. They're just trying to...
Progress is progress.
Listen, I'm not sure what they're trying to do because a lot of civilians were dying and, infrastructure was being blown up, but they were just trying to take over without risking their own lives, if that makes
I think
any
I'm
sense.
done.
So they're
Namaste
not
is
trying
done.
to kill Onada and every single
Slime
person
is
that they see.
okay.
So
The
Onada
will is
finds a way to
good.
slip out, and they try to look for the
Okay.
rest of the Japanese troops.
So
on the
next
island.
stream.
Onada
Oh
said
god,
he
I got
was
the
of
shoes.
the sense to get them
Oh no,
organized,
I
or else
missed
they
this
might
part.
as well all surrender together. But they were just met with death. One group of 22 Japanese soldiers were lying out in a tent, bleeding to death. Their eyes were glazing over. There were empty stares.
They got captivated, or
They were just shot at. They were begging Onada to let them kill themselves, and Onada agreed. He even made them promise, though, don't detonate the dynamite that I'm leaving for you until you see the Americans. That way I know if the Americans found our old base or not. Because, they still had food there. So if there's food, they might go back for it, but if they see the base intact, that means maybe the Americans never came. Maybe they don't know this place, but if the Americans did come and they see this gaping hole, then they know it's not safe to go back, because there's probably troops nearby waiting for someone to come back. Onada would later return, and he would not find a tent or even 22 corpses. He would just find a gaping hole in the ground. As Onada went to find any other surviving Japanese members, he saw gum wrappers on the ground, and he said that he was pissed. Now, again, I'm not taking any sides. I wasn't even alive for World War II. But just think of this as a human standpoint.
I just realized
He
at
was
the
very
10. Is
pissed
it already 5
because he's
minutes?
seeing all of
Holy
his fellow
shit,
comrades
time passed
die.
really fast.
And the enemy, which is the US at the time, they were just casually chewing gum. It was like a very weird feeling for him, he said. Now, regardless of what side you're on, right? Obviously, we're all American here, but you get what I'm saying. Just a human feeling of imagine you're fighting for your life, and whoever's trying to kill you is just chewing gum. That's terrifying. Now, Onoda learned that he was only about 60 Japanese soldiers left on the entire island, and he was the only officer left alive. The other higher ranks were killed during raids, died of illnesses, or were killed in attempts to storm the Americans. And like this, things went quiet for a month. So I know that sounds like a long time, but like I said, during one of the raids, a US soldier was killed. And the US took it really hard. I guess they didn't think it was worth it to rush the ambush of such a small island that was so minuscule in terms of their strategy in war that they didn't really want to go so hard. They didn't want to go all out. They wanted to play it safe so they didn't lose any men. Onoda agreed with their plan. He said it was a smart plan even. And besides, he had to admit his troops were truly
So
pathetic.
never
and
give up,
stupid.
even for 30 years
There
of
were
it.
about
Yeah,
20 soldiers
right.
remaining, so out of
Holy
the
shit.
60, a lot of them separated, a lot of them were surrendering themselves, a lot of them were trying to sneak off the island, a lot of them died. It was getting to the point where these remaining 20 soldiers, they would count out the grains of rice, and if someone got a few more grains, a fight would break out.
Oh, wow.
And soon enough, Onada found himself alone with private class official Kozuka and Shimada and Akatsu. Now, I'm gonna call them K, S, and A. So, Shimada, S, was kind of the glue of the group. He was super talkative and surprisingly cheerful considering the circumstances. He loved to talk about his pregnant wife. He wondered out loud about what kind of gender or baby they're gonna have. He already had a daughter. He was dying to know the gender of his second baby. Sometimes he would just look down at his feet and say, "My daughter. Wow, I guess she's at the age to like boys now." And he would just stare off at his feet. S was also the best shooter of the group. He had come from a farming family and they had to learn to fend for themselves. He also knew how to weave straw sandals and he taught Onada. K was the opposite. He wasn't open nor talkative. He only talked when someone asked him a question, but he also came from a farming family. A well-off one, actually. He had a racehorse, which at the time is like owning a race car.
Racehorse.
Not a working horse, but a racehorse. And then Akatsu. Akatsu is a city boy, and that's not a good thing in war. He was the weakest of the bunch, and they always worried about him. Because you're only as strong as your weakest man. Yeah, so the group thought A was bringing them down, and he could feel that tension for sure. They lived on coconuts. I know, it's given Palmyra Island. Remember that? They lived on coconuts. They tried to ration out whatever remaining rice that they had. Sometimes they were able to gun down a cow of one of the locals. Yeah, just took one of the cows out. It sounds like not a big deal in times of war, but that farmer could lose everything by losing one cow. Like, they could lose their house, their family, their business, everything. They
That's
could
what
starve
Judy
to death.
mentioned earlier.
So, I
They were
digress.
taking their
After about 10 months of being on the island,
cattle.
Onada saw his first leaflet, a flyer of sorts. The flyer came down from the sky, like airplanes were flying by, just releasing flyers into the mountains. And the flyer was urging Japanese troops to surrender. They're like, what the heck? No. Soon after, when they passed by some locals, so at this point, they still think the locals are on their side. You know, that's why the Japanese army was even in the Philippines in the first place. But then they were given a note by the locals that said, "The war ended August 15th. Come down from the mountains." And Onada's like, what? No, it didn't. No, the war didn't end. Nobody believed it. What are you talking about? We just heard gunfire just a few days ago. A few Japanese soldiers were gunned down by the U.S. troops. I mean, what else was that sound? Why else would that happen if
Jeez.
it wasn't
Okay, wait.
still wartime? I mean, sure, the gunshots were getting fewer and further in between, but this was all psychological warfare, and Onada knew it. They were trying to lure the remaining soldiers out of the woods to their death, to capture them. Onada found another flyer, and that one said, "Anyone who surrenders will be hauled back to Japan." Onada thought that was strange. They're gonna haul us back to Japan? Like we're cargo? The other three guys, they agreed. You're only cargo if you're dead. They all agreed that all the flyers were propaganda. Warfare. And this is how they kept getting flyers and leaflets. Sometimes they just saw them laying around. Sometimes locals handed it to them. Sometimes they fell from the sky. They were told over and over and over for the next 30 years that the war was over, but each time they disregarded it as propaganda, as fake
They didn't
news.
believe it. Oh no.
This case is often studied as one
I
of
also
the
heard
most
that and I
extreme
read about this.
forms and
Wow.
examples of
What?
confirmation bias. Do you guys know what that is? Let's say I think a lot of it is used in politics, but we won't go there. Let's say I think that my dogs are the smartest dogs in the world. Every time that my dogs do anything remotely smart, it confirms my bias that I believe they're the smartest dogs in the world. And then if I see another dog on the street who happens to be rolling around and I'm like, oh, not a classy dog, not as smart as my dog, it only confirms everything that I see in the world. I'm trying to make it fit my story, my bias that my dogs are the smartest dogs in the world. So that's what they're doing. They're finding other evidence that says otherwise, but they're saying, no, it's fake because they worded it like this, or they said this, or this is that. They're just constantly finding ways to confirm their belief that the war is still raging, even when presented with the exact opposite evidence.
No.
It's crazy. Onada would disregard them for
So
the
much
next
skills or
30 years.
something. That's
He
so
wouldn't
cool.
believe a single one, but others did. About 41 Japanese soldiers surrendered due to the leaflets. They had been hiding out in the mountains. Onada and his group would even hear the voices sometimes. It'd be in Japanese. Come out, come out! Nobody's searching for you except for us. It's the Japanese. We're part of you. Like, come on out. Onada didn't believe it. Neither did his men.
Oh,
If they were Japanese, because they did sound like native speakers, it's because they were working for the other side now. Or
no.
maybe they had a gun to their head and were forced to say these things. They believed that they were the last ones to provide any resistance to the island of Lubang. They were Japan's hope to make sure that the island wasn't taken over by U.S. troops, and they held on to this belief for 30 years.
All 4 of them.
Well, they would all be picked off one by one.
Oh
So,
no.
I mean, sure, they weren't doing a good job, but they were the only hope. That's what they kept telling themselves. So the 4 of them tried their best to stick to their mission. They kept track of every single day that they were in the mountains, which was surprisingly accurate. In close to 30 years, Onada was only off by 6 days.
Oh
The
damn.
group moved around regularly. Shimada was doing all the hard work, Akatsu taking charge of gathering chores and firewood and bringing water. Onada and Kozuka made tools, stood guard, planned the next moves. Onada was the highest rank and leader by default, but he was very careful to never give orders. He thought the most important was for everybody to stay alive and stay healthy. Onada also cleaned his gun every single day, 365 days a year, for 30 years, in case he had to shoot at people, which he did. Oh yeah, we'll get into that. So each man had 2 hand grenades, 2 pistols, and that's really all they had to arm themselves. When they ran out of their 3-month supply of rice, they raided locals' houses. It was pretty bad. They were also mad at the locals for acting like they were on the other side now. Suddenly, it seemed like the locals weren't friendly.
See, looks like you're up.
that they were
Extra
swayed
tenant.
by the Americans.
I am
mean, it got
done.
to the
I
point
am
where
done
Onada
for
was
today.
more careful around the locals than if he saw an American walking around. So they stole from the islanders for food, but
Wait.
also fabric if they needed to patch up their
One-
clothes.
one more,
They
one
stole
more.
tires
One
and
more.
sneakers. They would make their own sandals with it. They took the soles of the sneakers
One
and
more.
made straps from the tires. But still, food was their biggest concern. They were mainly eating bananas and coconuts. They would eat the banana peel and all.
Ew.
If the bananas weren't ripe enough, they would slice them into little medallions, wash them thoroughly in a running stream to get rid of the bitterness, boil them with coconut water, and the result was that of kind of like the taste of overcooked sweet potatoes. It wasn't great, but it was better than starving. Salt was a real treat to them. They called it magic medicine, which salt is good for you in
Maybe
certain
momentum is hard to kill.
quantities.
No, I just want
Even
to,
they
you know,
only could get
finish
half a year per
the.
person.
Find a good
For reference, the
place
average
to
person
finish.
consumes over 3 pounds
Because
of
I'm
salt per
almost
year. So they're just using tiny
done.
pinches of salt. Whatever meat they could get, they would. I mean, if that meant killing a local farmer's cow or trying to kill a wild iguana, they did it. They didn't like it though. They also targeted buffaloes and horses. Buffaloes had a weird taste
just
to them, and horse meat had a
checking.
very strong, unpleasant odor. That's what he said. But then in came the
Okay.
ants. There
I'm
were
done,
so
I'm
many
done.
different varieties
I'm done
of
for now.
stinging ants on the island. Some of them stung as
Just
painfully as bees.
pause
They
this.
always exact.
Okay, I'm done for now, people. I can go and build some girls. Yeah, thank you for chilling with me, guys. Oh my. Thank you. Shading looking good. Thank you. I'm actually really excited about how this is gonna finish. Next stream I want to work on Bok Bok. Then we'll work on the cherry blossoms after that. So that's the plan. We are 22 hours into this piece right now. Yeah. Shading looking. Thank you. I'm actually quite happy with what I've done so far. Today, keep it up on your side too, guys. If you guys are playing games or doing any work, remember to save. Okay, don't be like me. Remember to save. And I'll see you next month. Yes, I'll see you next month. Bye. Have a good time. Toodoo. Ba-ba-doo-ba-doo-ba-doo. Mwah.